My dear students, my dear well-wishers, my dear learners, and everybody, I like to thank you from the core of my heart that you are watching my videos. And I hope, extremely hope from you, I like to have your cooperations that you can help me by watching my videos, and please let other know about my videos on English grammar. So I like to tell you, dear viewers, that English is an international language, and it is the language of science and technology. It is the language of updated information technology. So we have to make a good effort to learn English. We have to try from the beginning to learn English. We have to try heart and soul to grasp the gist of this language learning. And in this case, I like to help you. Please be sure that learning is a continuous process, and if you keep going on learning English, it will be possible for you. It won't be impossible. So don't be upset. Please be motivated in learning English. Thank you. Now I am going to discuss sequence of tense part 2. So let us get started. Dear viewers, first of all, I like to tell you that while we are using sequence of tense, we have to remember three things. We have to remember three things. Number one, we have to know the use of agreement, agreement of different agreement of different rules of tense. Rules of tense. So first one is the agreement of different rules of tense, and number two is that the the clauses must be in the identical ways. Suppose first one is the agreement of different rules of tenses. The agreement of different rules of tenses. When we are making the use of sequence of tense, we must remember that some in some sentence there may be two or more clauses. In generally, in complex sentence, we can see that there is at least a principal clause and one or more subordinate clause, and in that case the clauses must agree the rules of tense, and according to the second rule the clauses must be in the identical ways. That means the clauses must be identical or relevant. And third of all, there may be some difference. There may be some difference. So the clause must be in the identical ways or relevant, and maximum clauses will be from the same group. So dear viewers, you try to understand maximum clauses will be from the same group of tenses. So I am going to discuss about it. Agreement of different rules of tense. First one, agreement of different rules of tense. Number one, try to understand, dear viewers. He says that he is ill. He says that he is ill. You see that this is the complex sentence, and in the complex sentence it is really we have to know. You have to know that in the complex sentence there must be one principal clause, and this is the principal clause. He says, and one or more subordinate clause. And in the sentence there is only one subordinate clause, that is ill. This is the subordinate clause, and he says this is the principal clause. You see. So, dear viewers, when there is any present tense or future tense, some present tense or future tense in the main clause, and in that case you can write present indefinite tense in the subordinate clause. In this case there may be some past indefinite tense. Suppose he says that he was ill yesterday. This is possible. Because when the verb in the main clause in the complex sentence is in the present or in the future tense, in that case we can write different tenses in the subordinate clause. First one, you can see first of all that this is the present indefinite tense, dear viewers, that he is ill. This is the present indefinite tense because it is possible here. Only why? The reason is that you see the verb in the principal clause is written in the present form. So, as a rule of the sequence of tense, we can use present indefinite tense in the subordinate clause. And you can also use past indefinite tense. This is past indefinite tense in the subordinate clause. So, dear viewers, in this case, there may be any tense appropriate here. Maybe, suppose you may write that Salam said that he would go to school the next day. So, dear students, you can see Salam said that he would go to school the next day. This is really possible. According to the sequence of tense, we can understand that if there is any past tense in the main clause, this is the main clause or principal clause, you see, MC, main clause. So the verb is in the first form in the main clause, you see, set, first form. And dear students, you can see that he would go to school the next day. This is appropriate here because we can write the conditional in the subordinate clause. But specifically I want to tell you that when you are writing any conditional after the conjunction that or any other conjunction, generally it will be the conjunction that, and this is the subordinate clause. The subordinate clause may be written like this way. That means we can write the conditional in the subordinate clause. But specifically I want to tell you that with the conditional you can use indirect future time. The next day. This is the indirect future time. The Tomorrow, this is the direct future time, but the indirect future time is the next day. So specifically when we are writing some conditional in the subordinate clause, we have to add some future time indirect. That means we have to add some indirect future times in the subordinate clause. And you have to remember, you can use here conditional. You can use here conditional. Why is it named conditional? You can see that according to the condition, we can't make the verb go in the past form went. We can't be able to make this verb go. We can't write here went. We have no right. We have no right. There is no possibility of writing went here. That means people say, Salam said that he will went to school the next day. Will went to school the next day. Did you find this kind of use in English grammar? No, because there is no appropriate rule like this way. So this is incorrect. You can't use here went. So according to the rules, if there are two or more verbs in any sentence or clause, you have to make the sense with the first one. So you can use the past form of will. The past form of will is would. So this is conditional. So according to the condition, we can use the past form of will, that is would. So he would. And after the past form, we have the right to use the present form. After any past form, you can't use any past form anymore, but you can write any present form. So according to the condition that he would go to school the next day, it is really appropriate, and you can be confirmed that according to the rules of sequence of tense, you can write conditional in that clause or subordinate clause. You can write here past indefinite tense. You can also write here past perfect tense. You can also write here past continuous tense. So according to my rule number 3, that means maximum clauses will be from the same groups of tense. That means this rule may be applied here. This rule must be applied here in the sentence, in this example you see. And in the second phase, I like to tell you that the clauses must be in the identical ways or relevant. Dear students, please try to understand. Salam said that he would go to school the next day. And now I like to tell you about the second rule. So let us get started. Now, second rule, that is the clauses must be identical. Suppose he says that he says that he has lost his keys, and so he is looking for it. So dear viewers, you can see that this is a sentence, and in this case the sentence first one is that in this case the verb says is in the present form. That means the principal clause is in the present tense. He says, present tense, that he has lost his keys. This is possible because the action has been done previously. The action has been done previously, that he has lost his keys. He has lost his keys. This action has been done previously. So this is the pretense. So this is the pretense, and this one says is the past tense. Now this action took place before, and this action takes place now. So pretense must be added to the post tense. This is the most important, this is the most important rule of using the sequence of tense, you know. So dear viewers, remember, keep it in your mind that when you are using any tense or sequence of tense, you have to remember that two clauses must be identical, and also you have to know that pretense must be used with the present tense. Pretense must be used with the post tense, dear viewers. So he says this is the post he says this is the pretense or post tense. Remember, try to understand that he has lost his keys. Is this the pretense or post tense? He says, is this pretense or post tense? Just remember, this action was done before. He has lost his keys. He has lost his keys. That means he lost his keys. So this is the pretense. That means the action was done before, and after the action was completed, he says that. So this is the post tense. That means afterward, this action takes place afterwards. So we have to remember, we can use the pretense with the post tense, and the clauses must be identical. Suppose he has lost his keys, and so he is looking for it, you can say, if you see that somebody has lost something, so there must be a reality that he is looking for that. So he has lost his keys, and so he is looking for it. This is the relevance. This is really relevant. This is really identical. This is the reality. So according to the previous action, the post action is going to, according to the necessity, the post action is going to be happened. The post action is happening. The post action is happening according to the reality, according to the necessity. According to the necessity, we are bound to do something that is the result of previous action. So he has lost his keys, and the result is there, he is looking for it. So dear viewers, this is really identical or relevant. So you have to remember, while you are making the sequence of tense, you have to remember that must be agreed with the tense rule, number one. Number two, we have to use the pretense with the post tense, and third of all, we have to make the clauses relevant or identical. And while we are making the pretense with the post tense, we have to remember that in maximum cases the clauses will be from the same group of tense, but there may be some exceptions. Please try to understand. Suppose it is 5 years, or it has been, or 5 years have passed. 5 years have passed since I met you. So dear viewers, you can see. So if you tell it is 5 years since I met you, or if you tell 5 years have passed since I met you, this sentence is correct, because after the present indefinite or the present perfect tense, we can write the past indefinite tense if the clauses added by since. So if we use since between these clauses, we have to remember that before since we can write two tense, present indefinite or present perfect, and after since we can write the past indefinite tense, and this is the sequence of tense. So according to the sequence of tense, there may be some exception also, but in maximum cases, the clauses will be added to with one another. The clauses will be added together with that, and the rule is that the clauses must be from the same group of tense, or there may be some exception that you can remember when the reporting verb in the indirect speech is present or future. In that case, we can write any tense in the subordinate clause. You have seen before. So dear viewers, I like to thank you from the core of my heart, and I think you have a good idea about the using of sequence of tense, and if there is any problem, please let me know. And I like to thank you that uh, if you keep watching my videos, you will be able to learn many things, uh, and I hope there will be some good result. And in that case, you have to remember, you just continue keep continuing reading or learning English day by day without any break, and I can tell you that you will surely do a good result in your examinations, and you will also be able to speak and write English fluently. Thank you, with the best of luck, and I wish you can keep a sound mind with a sound health. Thank you, everybody.